Hello. All right. So here's your inverse motion test that I gave you on Friday. Answers. If we're looking for the third derivative, so the first derivative we need to find. So p prime of x is equal to 3x plus 2 squared times 3. P double prime of x, that's 9, so that's going to be 18 times 3x plus 2 to the first times 3. 18 times 3 is 54, so we have p to the third of x is 54 times 3x plus 2 to the 0 times 3. So 54 times 3 is 162. Slope of the curve, y to the third minus xy squared equals 4, where y is equal to 2. Well, if y is equal to 2, what we need to find is what x value is. So we have 8 minus x times 4 is equal to 4. Subtract, divide, you get x equals 1. So that's a piece. And now when we're taking the derivative, we have 3y squared, y prime, minus parentheses, x 2y, y prime, plus 1y squared equals 0. Plugging in our values, you have 3 times 4y prime minus 1 times 2 y prime plus 4 equals 0. So we have 12y prime minus 4y prime minus 4 equals 0. So that gives you y prime is equal to 1/2. Good. Okay, so now we're going to find the derivative of y, which gives us 1 over x square root of x squared plus 1 times our product rule, which we get x times 1/2 of x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2 times 2x. There's a chain rule involved there. Plus 1 times the square root of x squared plus 1. Now, what we have is, we got to clean this up. So you have x divided by 2 square root of 2x up top, x squared plus 1, all over x square root of x squared plus 1, plus the square root of x squared plus 1 over x square root of x squared plus 1. So these twos can cancel, and we got to fix this. This can cancel with this. Alright, so now we're going to fix it. So that leaves us with x squared over x times x squared plus 1 over x. So this square takes out that x. So that leaves us with, let me move this up. X over x squared plus 1 over x. We're going to add some fractions. That gives us x squared plus 1. All over x times x squared plus 1, which gives us 2x squared plus 1 over x squared plus 1. So therefore your answer should have been choice C. Okay, number 4, y prime is equal to, we have a power chain rule, so we have 3 ln of x squared times derivative of ln of x is 1 over x. So y prime should give us 3 over x, ln of x squared. Choice A. Number 5, we have a product rule. So f prime of x is equal to x cosine of x plus 1 sine of x. We want the derivative at 3 pi over 2. So we have 3 pi over 2 cosine of 3 pi over 2 plus sine of 3 pi over 2. Okay, so to evaluate cosine of 3 pi over 2, you want to think of your cosine curve. And 3 pi over 2 is there, so that's 0. So that gives us 3 pi over 2 times 0 plus sine of 3 pi over 2. So your sine curve is going to look like this. So we get negative 1. And the answer, therefore, is negative 1. Okay, so I told you the hint here is x equals 3. I gave you that for the reason because we want g prime of 0, that's equal to 1 over f prime at 3. Because 3 solves that for 0. So we want f prime of x, and that we get 3x squared minus 14x plus 25. We want f prime at 3, so that gives us 3 times 3 squared minus 14 times 3 plus 25. And 27 minus 52 plus 25. 42, sorry. And that's going to give us 10. So this is 1 over 10. Good. We talk about average velocity. We're talking about y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's straight slope. So we have x1, x2. So we have ln of t is important to us. So that's going to be ln of e minus ln of 1. That's an e over e minus 1. Ln of e is 1 minus 0 over e minus 1. So we get 1 over 0. Good. Okay, so for some of you, this was the hardest question on the test. Y is equal to x to the negative 1/3, and we want the inverse. That means we're going to switch x and y, solve it for y. So that's really to the negative 3. So we have x to the negative 3 is equal to y. Now we want to take that derivative. That's our inverse. So we get negative 3x to the negative 4 is equal to y prime. Good. For this, we know that f prime of x is equal to 3x squared minus 1. G prime of 0, that means that we want to know when x to the third minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So when I'm thinking about that, 8 minus 2 minus 6 is 0, so that means x has to equal 2. That should be able to pick that up. So therefore, f prime at 2 is equal to 3 times 4 minus 1, or 11. So g prime at 0 is equal to 1 over 11. G of 0 is equal to 11. Okay, so when we take the inverse, you get that. So therefore, f prime of g of 0, which is 11, times g prime at 0 is really 11 times 1 over 11, or 1. Okay, again, we have another inverse function. negative 1, so that gives us 2x to the third minus 3x equals negative 1, or 2x to the third minus 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. So we're looking for that value. So x should be 1, because I would have 2 minus 3 plus 1 is 0. So x is equal to 1. Sorry. Knowing that x equals 1, h prime at negative 1 is equal to 1 over f prime at 1. F prime of x is equal to 6x squared minus 3. F prime at 1 is equal to 6 minus 3, or 3. So this is equal to 1 over 3. Normal line to the curve. Normal line we know is perpendicular to the tangent, so y prime is equal to 1/3 of x squared minus 1 to the negative 2/3 times 2x. X equals 3, so y prime at 3 is equal to 1/3 of 9 minus 1 to the negative 2/3 times 6. So we have some cancellations. That becomes a 2. Now, 8, cube root of 8 is 2, times that is 1/4, times 2 is 1/2. So y prime of 3 is really 1/2. That's not helping us. We need the normal, so that means the normal slope. So the normal slope is negative 2. So since the normal slope is negative 2, we have an x value. We should know the y value is 2. When you plug in the 3, you get y is equal to 2. Knowing that, we're going to now do our point slope formula. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we get y minus 2 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 3, giving you y minus 2 is equal to negative 2x plus 6, giving you y plus 2x equals 8, which is choice D. Good. All right, velocity and acceleration at the particle. So v of t is equal to 12t to the third minus 48t squared plus 48t. And the acceleration, just take the derivative again. You get 36t squared minus 96t plus 48. That's part A. So, particle at rest means v of t is equal to 0, so you have 12t to the third minus 48t squared plus 48t is equal to 0, and now we're going to factor. So, we take out a 12t, and you're left with t squared minus 4t plus 4 is equal to 0. That gives you t is equal to 0. And t is equal to 2 when you're done with that side. So on our number line for the velocity, we have 0 and 2. Those are the two times that it's at rest. So when t is equal to 0 and t is equal to 2. Particle change direction. Well, we're going to use our number line to determine that. So we're going to plug in values between 0 and 2. So we'll take 1, plug it into v. That's positive. Positive. Take 3, that stays positive, positive, negative, positive, it's still positive. So it did not change direction. It stopped, but it did not change direction at 2. What about negative? Negative, positive, positive, positive. It's negative. So it changes direction when t is equal to 0 only. That's when the velocity goes from positive to negative. Okay, the last piece, what is the velocity when the acceleration is first 0? So acceleration equals 0, so a of t equals 0. That gives us, we can take 12 out. So take 12 out and you're left with 3t squared minus 8t plus 4. So that gives you 3t minus 2, t minus 2. Alright, so t is equal to 2/3 and t is equal to 2. And we care about what is the velocity when the time is first at 0. So now we want v of 2/3. We're going to plug that in. So you get 12 times 2/3 to the third minus 48 2/3 squared plus 48 times 2/3. Which in the end should give you 128/9. Good. Hope you did well.